instantly. Hey, y'all, welcome in. Hi again, Kathy. Welcome in, Mac. Yeah. We're going to make this work. Mr. Chair is a camping chair. Mine is not. So.
You can lower yours. Just let me know. Well, welcome to the back porch, guys.
Welcome to the back porch, y'all. Few disclaimers.
Hey, Mac, I just subbed you, man.
Welcome in, Mac. So before we get started, for one, the thumbnail was an old thumbnail. Hey, Donnelly. Do you have my email? I don't remember if I've got yours. I'll send you a link. Some way, somehow, I'll send you a link. Or maybe I'll just post it on my community page. Fort Riley, so it's the Army installation, just 200 yards to the west of us. Mister, would you put my email in chat?
Yep, give me just a minute.
They had a mounted. I'm trying to stay logistical and my words aren't forming right. They had a cavalry back in the day. They still have those horses, obviously different horses, but they had a whole color guard. That unit, after 30 plus years, retired fully. I don't know how many horses we're talking about. I only learned about this stuff this evening. So, but they have Fort Riley's mounted horses. So for cavalry, yeah, back like the old Wild West. I would say there's probably at least 6 of them. There's probably even more. I don't know. But Fort Riley is looking for a home for these horses. They're soldiers. I know it's an animal, livestock animal for a lot of people. But just like dogs are trained for our military, so is horses, and so they earn those titles as soldiers as well. I don't know the whole logistics and anything, but I looked over some of the brief, and the first person I thought of, honestly, was you, Donnelly. Not necessarily like you would be able to step in and take any of them, but you know people. So I want to see these horses receive the love and care they deserve. And what was it? Well, yeah, the 4th of July would have been the last event that they were paraded
Kathy
in.
says they were here a lot longer than
that. Well, I know the cavalry horses, not the ones of today, but I know there's been cavalry horses. I don't know if it's been nonstop, but since Fort Riley was Camp Center. So, I mean, that was even before the foundation of our state. Yeah, and they were in every parade here for years. So the last one would have been the 4th of July. I do know, I think it was yesterday was their last and final parade as far as,
she's going to check.
Yeah. Well, and I figured that I just wanted...
Right.
I figured she's a great source to get that info out.
And I'm going to put the info out to... there's 2 people in South Central to put the info out to.
Right. I figure...
I'll let you handle one and I'll handle the other one.
I could do one on my phone.
That's who I'm talking about. It's the younger one.
Uh-huh.
I'll deal with the one that's...
one of our bonus kiddos. Yes. And that's exactly... have sources all over. I'll put it up probably after this live, if not for sure by morning. I'll just, because it's public knowledge, So I'll put the article that was released on mine.
Hey,
Hey,
Robin.
Robin, welcome
Again.
in. Welcome in again. Y'all, we've been needing to do another back porch, not even so much for our channel. There is so much going on. Y'all, we're in the phase of getting ready to have a new moon. Or not a new moon, a full moon. Sorry. And so I'm just going to attribute that to everybody that's can't form their words, can't speak English, but that's our first language. Can't math. A few things. Hey, that's all things I've been dealing with over the last week. But it's affecting so many people. So it's almost got to be the moon, or at least the moon's getting blamed for it, as beautiful as it is. I mean, you're an animal lover.
Yeah.
I'm an animal lover. I've always loved horses, honestly.
I was always just raised that we never had horses. Grandpa had cattle, and I was told, you, unless you're really hard up, you can't slaughter and eat that horse to survive. And so we didn't have horses. We used pickups for everything.
So my grandpa Richard, or not grandpa Richard, yeah, Grandpa Gene. So it's the one you met, because all my other grandparents had been gone since before me or before we got together.
Yeah.
So Grandpa Gene, because us kids loved horses. We tried the googly eyes. We
Hi,
tried
Timmy.
the sweetness. Hey Timmy, welcome in. All that good stuff. And so this is what Grandpa always proposed, quite literally, even in the year or two after he got off the tractor. He said, Steph, a horse eats twice as much as a cow. We can eat a cow. We cannot eat a horse. And, I mean, he was right. So, yeah, not a problem. Give me a second, y'all. I'm on StreamYard, and when I mess with tabs and all that good stuff, but I've got to be able to grab this link. I should have did it before we came live. I just wasn't thinking I might run into Donna Lee this evening. So I'm in a different tab right now. So I can't see anything, but it might cut us out because I'm playing with tabs.
Yeah, I was the other one I was always told was horses are like boats. They cost a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, we come from farming backgrounds and agriculture backgrounds. And my grandpa, he loved horses. He just, wasn't in a place money wise to be able to get horses and raise them and take care of them properly. So we just never had them. We're doing all right up here, Timmy. I'm getting ready to drop your link. That's what I was.
And I'm in another tab on another platform. I'm sure I didn't save it. I say that, but I typically save a lot of stuff. So I'm in. And y'all, thank you for bearing with me while I find this link, because working with, a cell phone versus a laptop, the platforms look different and buttons aren't necessarily where they were. Maybe I'll just do a search.
So, Timmy, I have an idea for your channel.
There it is.
When you're able to go live, you ought to get a mount for your race car so you could go live during your races. I think it'd be really cool.
I'm just checking a couple of things. So it was News Station 27. I don't know who that is, but it says Kansas
It's
NT.
KSNT, so it's
So,
Kansas City.
so it's a Kansas City station. So if you get, I'm still going to get the link. I'm just explaining. Um, Fort Riley is tied into this news article for their Facebook as well. And I'll reach out to my contacts over there tomorrow because I found out this evening and I wasn't able to fully appreciate it. So give me a second. I'm going to open this link. It might throw noise. If it does, I'll have to mute StreamYard. I mean, I've got questions when it comes to this because it's the end of a special military mounted unit, is what it states. But that is also the color guard. So those are the folks that attend funerals, do the flags, all of that. I know VFWs, auxiliaries, all of that still do that. But yeah. I mean, we're pro-military families. He didn't serve, I didn't serve, and our dads didn't serve because our dads did not qualify.
Okay.
So, all right. And thank you, Donna, for coming in. I don't know what this is going to look like when I put it over, but since I'm the channel owner, it should just be a link. Should be just a link. Of course, she's on.
The first one doesn't show up as anything other than a bunch of gibberish. The second one's a link.
See, and that's the thing, it threw it out on both.
The bottom one's the one that's all gibberish.
All right. So.
Oh, yeah, see? So, you know.
Oh, that would be awesome. I do know we didn't make it for this 4th of July over in Junction City. That's the base, the civilian side base for Fort Riley, and they're directly to the south of Fort Riley between I-70 and Fort Riley. And that's typically Manhattan they've been to, of course, other places, but I'll tell you, the military took great pride in them. And I've never seen an issue with any of them. Of course, you know, horses are animals, so, you know, they've had their history of stuff. But that would be amazing. I wasn't expecting it. Usually I hear chatter, but
I wouldn't worry about it. Just leave it in there.
Yeah, I'm just not quite sure.
You have to drop the screen.
Oh, I had to drop the screen again. Sorry, y'all. I get up and stand and all that good stuff. So, and then I just jumped over to my email really quick. Okay. Alrighty. We'll get back over here to StreamYard.
So I dropped your email address up there.
So, Donna Lee. I'm going to put a number. You're on a device right now, right, that you can screenshot with? I'm going to put a number in chat. It's not my personal, y'all, so if someone ends up with it, it's not a huge deal, but
it's the business line.
But no, I get a lot of spam calls on it, so typically I don't answer. People have to communicate through a text to me.
And thank you, Timmy.
No, looks weird because I don't typically put that number out anywhere. So Donna Lee, screenshot that. Let me know when you have, and I'll take it out. I'll be able to just send it straight over to you that way. And then tomorrow I'll get confirmation as far as contacts over there. Because it's a bit late tonight to be making those calls.
Well, we've got a resource that may be able to get you any phone number or contact for any of that.
I know who to contact. It's too late.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with those horses. They're going to be cared for just like they're going to go on duty tomorrow morning, whether it's tomorrow or a week from tomorrow.
Got it. So she'll call you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
You might text first, just saying Donna Lee or something like that. Yeah. Then she'll answer the phone. Otherwise, she may not answer it.
Well, I'll have to take the do not disturb off.
Oh, yeah.
During. Otherwise, while I'm live, no matter what day.
Yeah, whoever.
You know, my phone would be ringing all the time. Hey, Jody. Welcome in, girl. Oh, I haven't announced that yet. Shoot. I'm going to have to announce that tomorrow during our sale on our channel. I still haven't told anyone who's going to be here Monday.
Oh, we're in the back porch. It's a good time to announce something like that.
I mean, it is, but let's go to the top for a minute. Y'all, just because it is late and all that good stuff, it's easier just to read my own stuff. So, welcome to the back porch event, Chit Chat. After dark, topics can be triggering. Warning. We chat about loss, recovery. That's for humans, animals, whatever. Life's up and downs and everything in between, and then some. This chat is only intended for those 18 and over. If anyone is under the age of 18, I just ask you to come hang out a different time. Not because we, but just it's not a PG necessarily chit chat tonight.
We don't get vulgar.
We don't get vulgar. Like we don't. We do not bash other people's channels. We just don't do that here. Jody, can I tell you something? I've been a lurker the last 72 hours on your channel. I just haven't had. I say haven't had the time, and that it's not entirely a lie. It just means I didn't have enough energy and time to devote being in chat. And not because your channel's not amazing. It just is hard to ignore people when they say hate stuff. So, good to see you. So, yeah, y'all, it's been a crazy month so far, and we're only on the 9th. Yeah, still in the 9th. 22 years ago today, and I didn't realize it until earlier today. 22 years ago today, I survived a near-fatal car accident. Because it was car insurance. Of course, this is my explanation. Since it was car insurance that was going to be paying for the bill, I attribute that to the care I received at the ER, and we're talking a big city hospital in Colorado. So I had a near fatal car accident, broke my neck, and I've lived with chronic pain since. What they didn't know, because I guess city hospitals back in the day, they're people that can read images, at least in Colorado. The guys didn't come to the hospital. They read them over an email. And so when they come back and they said stuff, not what's wrong with your neck. And I said, listen, I've had a broken bone or two in my life. I'm telling you, something's not right in my neck. Which irritated whoever it was that was supposed to read everything because that required them to come to the hospital and do further scanning. I ended up with a CT scan, which is where they found the break. So,
So Timmy's trying to get us to 900 likes.
is he trying to get us to 900 likes for this show? Okay. I mean, I don't know that we're going to be on that long, but hey, I'm game. I'm game, Timmy. Now, Timmy, I haven't commented on your shorts and stuff.
I
That
haven't
you,
had a chance to look, but
dude, it makes you feel like you're back, you know,
yeah,
back doing it. Like, I mean, it's racing, but still,
yeah, but we had a lot of fun sitting out at the tracks.
yeah. It almost felt like
we
sitting
used to
in.
do a race at a couple of our local speedways. They called it an anything goes race. It was essentially a high-speed demolition derby. They waited till the end of the night after all the main events were done, and they took the water truck out on that dry, slick track and wet the whole thing down. And then they send out essentially demolition derby cars and tell you, first car that makes 20 laps wins. It is a fun ride. You have a passenger, water guns, water balloons. You're throwing water balloons up in the stands at people. It was a blast. Some of the hardest hits I ever took was on that track, though, because we got pinned on that concrete wall.
So you remember Wollert's? That's the one we're talking about,
yeah,
right?
the one where we got pinned up the
Yeah,
wall.
you, unless obviously can't really tell the difference because first time I seen the short and I'm like, so I got it on the big screen. I'm like, for sure not, and it wasn't. But I'm like, holy moly! It's like being back home.
I haven't been to a derby in a lot of years. It's hard for me just to sit and watch.
Because it was more than just a weekend thing.
Yeah, it was more than a weekend thing. I mean, the season started in April to May, and we would run through. We had that one. The last one was at the end of September. That was the kind of bring whatever's left thing. And there was a lot of those weekends that we would have 2 cars built up and take 4 cars to a show. And they're like, well, let's inspect those. It's like, no, those aren't for this one. They're for another show. What do you mean? Oh, tomorrow night's over here. And we just wanted to make sure we were going to have cars for it. We ran a circuit of probably 45 to 50 demolition derbies a season. And that's a lot of beating on your body. I get lucky enough I can still move my neck. It's stiff, but I can still move it. I've got one friend that when he turns to talk to you, it's his whole body because his neck's gone. It's, yeah.
You talking Cliff?
Yeah, way too much whiplash. Of course, that guy was half nuts the way he hit anyhow. But we're in Kansas, Donnelly.
Yeah, that's true. Timmy goes, I don't do derby racing, and plus I can't have a passenger with me because of the rule book.
Yeah,
and that's true.
Yeah, and it was the only race you were allowed to have passengers because
Kansas, Donnelly.
You were looking at about 30 mile an hour max speeds on that track, unless they just didn't get it wet enough, and that's what happened to us the night we got stuck up in the wall. Those cars were moving.
We are, give or take, traffic. All right, let's see. If you were doing the speed limit, the legal speed limit from Kansas City to here will take you over 2 hours. We're on exit 3. Well, we're off exit 303 off of I-70.
Yeah.
Fort Riley is exit 301. Yeah.
Yeah, 301.
301. And she is in Florida. That's where I thought she said she was. But yeah, no, Wollert's was race cars, mini sprints.
Yeah, they brought in the wings.
They did, and
they
that
brought
was
in the
actually
wings.
fun.
The track really wasn't big enough for them, though. They needed to be out on Lamar, but it wasn't open yet at that point when he brought it,
Right.
because it was in a family dispute over their track. The guy that built the Woolers racetrack sits off of a junkyard, and the guy's a crook. I mean,
We ain't gonna discuss
Plain.
Old Man Woolley tonight.
but he made this other guy real mad at the end of a race, disqualified him after he won because he had Hoosier tires on his car. So the guy got mad, drove the car 6 miles down country roads in the dark, pulled in, spun some donuts out in his field, and goes, "That'll work." Next day, he went out there with his tractor and he started building Lamar Speedway. And he put Wooler out of business for a lot of years with that track. He built, Wooler's was a 3rd mile, and Lamar's was right at 3/4 of a mile. So it was big enough for the modifieds to run top gear and fly 3-wheel all the way through it. And yeah, it was a heck of a track. Open corners, so if you got popped off a corner, there was no wall to catch you. You went out into a cornfield, spun a donut, and come right back in. It was what racing was meant to be for dirt track. It was there. That was a lot of fun when we were younger.
So, mister, you remember when we moved to Kansas the first time?
Yeah.
Do you remember that Ziploc bag of disposable cameras?
Yeah.
2 of them was from when Jess was a baby, and I took Jess to the Demolition Derby over near Bidsport Inn.
Is that one of the years I was running? Or was that before I was running?
No, you were running.
Was that the year I went out there and made the guy look like an idiot?
And that was the year that Gwen,
Is that the year she almost went to jail? Yeah, I remember that night. That night was fun. It was. We showed up to this demolition derby and we followed the rules. Like, you have a rule book and you grab it, you stretch a little bit, but if you stretch too far, you just rip it. Well, a lot of the other drivers we competed against.
That's what I was talking about, Timmy. Yeah. Hey, Kraken, welcome in. Kraken, did you know the Duck Dynasty has YouTube? Just kind of like we are, just more professional, obviously.
It's
and
a podcast.
And more organized. Now, hey, I will tell y'all, hey, welcome in, Black Widow. I will tell y'all, I have a friend that is an organized expert, and she does top-level cleaning. I told her about this disaster. I tried to tell her about my doom pile. That's what we call it. It's where you move stuff from one area to another area because you showed it 100,000 times. No, most of that we haven't shown.
Most of it's stuff that we've sourced, clothing and stuff like that, and it's just kind of gotten thrown in the pile.
Well, we started going through the pile and organizing it and separating it. We just ain't made it much further than that yet. It's going to help me just in time for us to move. Now, when are we planning on moving? You ask. My unrealistic time frame is 60 or so days. Not because I'm excited to move away from my friends and support systems we've built up here and the awesome communities that have supported us, etc. up here in the Flint Hills. But I've got extended family, aging family that needs us closer. And so that's why we're moving. So, Kraken. Lord have mercy, this boy, I took a break in between Dawn's and here, and it ain't. And I know I might have been forgetting something after I made a phone call because Kraken is still in draft.
Well, you know,
You keep up with chat.
yeah,
We'll
I'd
see
say
how
all you lose
y'all
is chat.
check
I mean,
this
you
out.
can still see us as long as you don't stand up and raise the screen.
I won't. Give me a minute. Y'all are gonna see how in real time, how quickly Steph can move these arthritic fingers, and of course I'm opening tabs, so you gotta remember I'm on Wi-Fi. So if it cuts me out here or there, that's fine.
I saw that, Timmy. That's interesting. It's neat.
All right. So we need to go to the pirate ship because I think that's where I actually got stuck. You know what? First, I've got to be able to see myself dig. So Kraken, this is how much it was, okay? And we're not talking price. Y'all don't look at all that. Don't screenshot that. Don't, Here's your invoices. Yes, he did pass away. John and Elaine, I think that's a fair statement. Now that Papa Phil, because that's what his grandbabies called him affectionately, and I'm not here to dispute with anyone that's the way it'll go. I'm just saying we're not going to decide whether or not he was Christian enough to be called a Christian or anything.
So Kraken says you can just wait till Friday.
Are you sure, Bob?
And that works.
You
might have it tomorrow, but
Yeah, you might have it tomorrow.
She
right.
ended up on the phone with a kid.
Hey, y'all, I usually don't mix the back porch with business. Just a second. So, where's the box that has Kraken's giveaway? And is it box number 1 or box number 2?
There's that giveaway. It'll be
the
in box 1.
6x6.
Be in box 1.
So where's box 1? I'm not asking you to get up.
It's in the room on the bed, buried, because I've got all this other stuff buried in front of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to show Kraken something.
His little box isn't in there.
Where is it?
It's sitting on the table in the living room.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Thought she was going to go try to carry the big box, and I'm like, wait. Oh, wow. That's neat, Timmy. I was buying duck commander calls before the show ever come out. A friend of mine, back when they didn't cost much, we went and bought everyone they had because they had about the best sound, and they really did work to call in the geese and stuff.
All right. So I'm not going to show everything. There's a view, and it's not fully packed, but Kraken. This is actually what hung up me invoicing earlier today, and then we had to repackage, whatever, right? So, Kraken, do you remember one thing you asked me? Because I didn't get any more gizmos. Do you remember what you asked me a while back to see if I could source for you? Of course, it's related to Gizmo. Kraken asked me to keep my eyes open for something, right? Now, I know he was probably meaning a big spike.
But we haven't found one yet.
I haven't found one yet.
Of course, we're on a, spending freeze.
Well, no, if one crossed my path,
oh yeah,
I'd be calling Kraken and being like, "Bud, what's your budget?" So this was going to be a surprise. It is not even remotely close to real life size. But Kraken, do you remember that giveaway you won? Back in April? Now, to be fair, y'all, we didn't do the drawing till May, but I felt him So he's in with your giveaway box because most of the rest of it is probably for Crack and Mary. Just saying. But, just saying. All right, I gotta go put this back so I don't end up forgetting it. All right, I just don't want to forget to put it in the shipping box again because it's happened before. But
so you need to go up because Timmy. But
all right, let me go up. This is not easy. How far up do I need to go?
You're good. It's gonna keep jumping because they're talking now.
Well, no, it's fine.
All right, right there, Timmy. Don't read it out loud because he removed it.
Okay, I won't. All right, so this is what you wanted me
and
to.
then now you can just kind of scroll down.
Timmy, you and I, not because of what you put, but we're talking location, meaning the big word. And then I'm just going to jump back down and chat, y'all. So Old Man Duck Dynasty died. He did. I haven't been following a whole lot of Duck Dynasty for a while now because they did or misbehaved or whatever, right? I see people for who they are, meaning I don't see the outside. I mean, I do, but that's not what catches me. It's what's here. And I'll tell you what, having a history and being human and being real, that speaks to me before anything. So I don't know where everybody's at with who Phil was as a person. I haven't watched their movie, but I really think I don't know. I don't know. I don't want Hollywood to influence what I already believe, obviously through a screen, but still. And, when people die and their legacy, their businesses are right, things do change. However, Bill was not, I mean, yes, he was the head of the business, he was head of his family. But I know for at least a year, not that he wasn't still involved, but as far as an active role, as far as business, most of that hadn't been like in his controls. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I just mean
the only difference now is, they don't have to worry about what Dad's going to say.
Right, or what Dad is going to, right? If a decision that would go against him, But with that, I mean, they're obviously all experiencing grief in a way they've never experienced that before. Is there a difference? Mr. asked earlier this evening, I think we were live, but maybe we weren't, about, and maybe some of y'all can, because we are on a back porch event, so we can bring it up. Today was Scooter Renee's mama's birthday. Her mama's been in heaven for a few years. And my mama's wing anniversary is the 23rd of this month. The importance of that is my youngest child, we're almost to the minute, literally 48 hours before my youngest child's birthday, my mother died. This month will be 5 years. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I don't know if it's because it's the 5-year anniversary or not. Each year it's hit slightly differently. But this year it's harder for a lot of reasons. And so when Scooter went on and did her morning hashtag, and that hashtag was hashtag happy birthday mom. So if y'all got her, if y'all haven't seen her short, and not so much for the hashtag, right? It just going and hitting a thumbs up does the same thing. It shows her that,
People care.
people care. And it may seem trivial. It may not have its, but I'll tell you what, being in the moment and say, hey, I'm not okay. Being in the moment and saying, listen, this is not my best face, but this is where I'm at in the moment today, and this is why. We've all been there, and I think her short this morning, she held it better than I think I could have. I definitely felt it, but that's because I've experienced standing over my mother for the last time. And it does something to you. I draw off of my own life experiences. I brought into the world for human beings. And I didn't know until standing over my mom that, obviously it does something to you, but there's a chemical change that happens. So and he's aware of it. So he's like, Steph, we should ask guys who have experienced the loss of their fathers. So that's where I'm at. So FYI, if you've been there, know that that's the question I'm fixing to ask. No one has to answer, but Mr. still has both his parents. Now, understand, his parents were they weren't middle age, but they were in their 30s when they had him. Matter of fact, your dad was at least 35 when you was born, right?
Yeah.
And I think he actually might have been 38. If not, he was close. So, I don't know, just somewhere in his 30s. Both your parents have had heart attacks.
Yep.
Of course, your dad has...
A widowmaker.
Your dad no, he didn't have a widowmaker, did he?
This was all in the widowmaker branch.
It was in a widowmaker,
clear it before
right?
it happened.
It was in a widowmaker branch, but it wasn't a widowmaker. It was like that little heart attack alarm that goes off before that happens. You had your own in July.
Yep.
Remember that? So yeah, this time, and actually it was the 19th of July, just FYI. 2019 was Mr.
No,
Your original heart attack
was July 5th.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So what happened on the 19th? There was still something with your heart. I don't know, but you remember the doctor came in and goes, well, this is elevated, and this is elevated, but you haven't had a heart attack yet. Everything that was elevated, including the proteins, were all things that only happen once you've had a heart attack. So there was no...
Found that out after my widowmaker.
We found that out.
Some serious scar damage already on my heart.
Yeah, and your widowmaker was almost to the day 3 months later. And he almost died. I mean, he actually clinically... Well, yeah, they had to... Yeah. It was somewhere between 3 and 7 minutes. Alright. And I jumped down far enough that I also seen was Black Widow say something about that's how she's raised. So I'm going back just to make sure I didn't overlook something, but I don't think so. I think that's just, it's hard when we're in real time and so are y'all, but there's the 7-12 second delay. It's confusing sometimes. Willie and Phil, Miss K, Willie, all of them, because my dad's name was Charles too, Timmy. And rest in peace to all our dads. So, if none of y'all mind, if you're a male and you've experienced the loss of your father, um, and you don't mind talking about it. And
All right, Robin.
we're not talking about the grief. We're talking about, right? Um, did you instantly feel that disconnect? I guess trying to figure out the right way to ask that. I don't know that that even makes sense, but uh, the best way I can describe it, I mean, aside from it being my mama, I definitely had to disassociate a lot in that moment. There was a lot being required of me, so I just had to put myself aside and do what my mom asked me to do. And I struggle with it once in a while, but it wouldn't have. I'm glad um, she trusted me enough to follow through.
Donnelly.
All right, I'm gonna go down further. So, Black Widows was I was raised much differently. It's best for me not to engage.
And I'm sure it's over your question. She was. She's the generation before us. So
Yeah, Black Widow, and of course, um, Robin. And yes, I'm calling you ladies out, but I don't mean it derogatory or to bring attention. These women and so many other women um, are my mother's generation. And you know when you're not on the screen, right? When you're only in chat, and that's the way people know you. Age is nothing, right? And in chat, people can see me for the seasons of life I've been in. When I'm on the screen, you can see I'm not the same generation, and some people have a perplexity to it. Like before social media, when people would find out that you're a much younger generation, they look, not that they look down on you, but they put you in a different class, and I just didn't want to be treated differently. Like, hey, you my friend now. 3 months from now, you're gonna see I could be your the same age as your kid. Well, in Black Widow's case, she does have an adult child older than me, and then she has a child younger than me for sure. I just can't right now do math in my head to remember how many kids she has. I just know she has one that's above my age.
and I fully agree with you on that one, Black Widow, 110%.
So,
Robin's relocating to bed, so she won't be typing in chat.
oh,
She's
you're
gonna be
fine.
watching on the TV.
And then Dinah's part of living. Dinah's the beginning. This life is full of lessons. Pay attention and learn. Absolutely, and that's 100%. And it doesn't matter the way you believe. Um, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter in that way. But what I'm saying is, yeah, life is full of lessons, and paying attention does matter.
So, Kraken, the reason why I was asking on the dad's thing is, I've still got both my parents, and I watch how much her dad crushed her, and then I watched how much her mom really crushed her when she passed. So, I'm curious, on a guy's perspective, do you really miss your dad extremely bad versus your mom if they're both gone? You miss them both, obviously, because they're gone. But, like her mom really tears her up even worse than her dad. Maybe it's because there's a lot more years there for her dad's, time. But, it's because, a mom and a daughter have a connection that no one, I mean, mom and all their kids have a connection, but mom and a daughter especially, kind of like dads and sons. So that's kind of what the question was about.
So, Mister, without scraping too far in the past, there were circumstances surrounding the summer my dad died that dramatically, if you take all of that out, that would not have been there, right?
Right.
It's crazy because like 2 or 3 years after Dad died, Mama looked at me. Do you remember what she told me? One evening when I was struggling, it must have been around the time Dad died, which is also around my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what she said? She goes, Steph, she goes, you ain't gonna miss me when I go. It's still hard for me to even say that out loud. She goes, you won't miss me the way you miss your dad. And this is incredibly crazy because me and my mom was very close with me growing up. Um, we struggled into my adulthood because my mother was an orphan and I never took any of that into consideration. I really didn't. Um, so her babies were her life, quite literally. Right. And that definitely affects things too, Jody.
It was
I,
just a
I have
question because
at
I
least,
watched how much it tore her up, and it just kind of was like, wait a second here. Should I kind of really be preparing for something bad here? Because I view death differently. Um, I worked in nursing homes too long. I watched people that were in agony pass on, and it wasn't a sad thing. Even their family wasn't sad because, they were sitting there in agony. Um, I view death as it's another step forward. No
most of the
matter
time, I
what you,
think
no
that.
matter what you believe in a religion, you know, passing on is supposed to be a good thing. It don't matter what religion. Um, so death doesn't scare me in that way, and it's kind of like it's supposed to be more of a celebration because this life kind of sucks. They don't have to deal with it no more, man. It's supposed to be a celebration. They're gone. um, that kind of deal. So, I don't just was kind of curious from a guy's perspective if that's just something that tears at him or not. I mean, obviously, you have times you're going to miss people because you're doing something that maybe you would have done with them or they would have enjoyed. And then it kind of brings on a little bit. It's like, man, that sucks. I'm not here. But hey, you know what? You know. So,
So I'll tell you what I miss about my parents. I miss them in those moments, right? I don't miss all life, right? We're talking just in general. I miss the relationship. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm trying to mindfully, like, hold myself together as I say this. Um, I miss someone loving me unconditionally, not because of what I can do for them or what I can give them, but because I am who I am. I have one person left on this earth who loves me in that way. That death scares me because it also comes full circle to my PTSD. So everything with Dad, I had my diagnosis of PTSD, but not the level or skill of what it
right.
really was. It's not watching something traumatic on a TV or being in a car accident. It's being 3 years old and being taken by strangers and separated from everything you know for 6 months and all that goes with it when you don't end up in the right home under true protection. That trauma lasted as far as night and day for 13 consecutive months. Hence the reason why my grandmother drove in a single cab pickup to Texas and brought back 3 adults and 3 children. I miss being able to pick up the phone and call. Siri in the last 60 days has tried to call my mom twice. And I'm driving both times, so when she announces she's calling mom, and she's saying my mom, I have to stay in real time, usually highway speeds or interstate speeds.
Good night, Donnelly.
Good night, Donnelly. Thanks for being here, hon. And yeah, we'll get together. So yeah, but it's moments like that. Like the first time it happened is like, what is she even thinking? But it happened again the other day, and I was doing like 80 down the interstate. You've got traffic around you, you can't just have a moment. You gotta hold it together and push through. So I think your biggest question, just in a different way, is how prepared should you be?
Right. Like I said, I view stuff a little differently. I was raised a little different.
Yeah.
I was raised that you didn't. I mean, you cried because the person was gone, but you didn't cry because they were never coming back. You just cried because you were sad because they were gone. You didn't cry. You didn't. Even when I was 6, I remember there was never a discussion about how you should feel that your grandma passed away. It was just, I just kind of sat there and cried a little bit, and it was like, okay, well, all right.
Hi, buddy.
I loved her. She was a great woman to me, but why sit here and keep being sad, and just went on with life. That's just kind of how I was raised.
I mean, my mom's stuff, I would say, however prepared you can be. My mom was sick and chronically sick for a number of years, and she had a number of health issues.
So, see, we all cry selfish reasons because we won't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I guess, from that point on in life, it was like when people passed, you might shed a tear because, as selfish reasons, well, poor me, but then it was just over and just go on with life. And I've been that way ever since.
With my dad, it brought...
Hi, Kathy. Her man's kicking.
Oh,
she's just going to listen.
Not a problem, Kathy. I mean, for anything I say tonight, Kathy has already heard. But she heard me tell my testimony in person to somebody who needed someone who has my experience, because they were, right? No other context to that. So, everybody else, it's all good. Last night, I went through my subscriptions. I had 8 new subscriptions over the last 30 days that I wasn't sub to. But they were sub to me. Now, 2 of them I know I was sub to before. So, it's YouTube doing its thing. But it made me look, and not because I don't know these women like Black Widow and Scooter and so many others, Robin, Kathy, Rocky Mary. I'm just pulling some from active chat.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
So, Black Widow, but we can't fix it or change it.
We can't fix it or change it. So let's let this go.
Yeah.
And then move on. My problem between Mama and here is I didn't have time to grieve.
Right.
And then when I really had time to grieve, I was expected to, my life was turned upside down, quite literally, but all of ours was, and quite literally expected to run on a treadmill on full speed and get caught up. No, that's not excuse. It's an explanation as to why I'm where I'm at with. I would not wish my mother back to be in the pain that she was in. Da 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 da. I miss the relationship, and I miss having somebody that I know loves me for me, and not because of what I can do for them. Um, it's learning to adjust and overcome in real time, and taking that time to process that. And I guess that's what it is. It's been a long process because there wasn't time to process it.
Right.
Um, I can tell you, I don't miss my dad any more than I miss my mom, or vice versa. There's moments where I miss one or the other, maybe more than the other, but not for that, but because of what our relationship was. Like, if I needed a protector, as crazy as it is, that the first man I ever loved was also the first man that ever harmed me. Um, was also my protector, and that's who I looked up to. So, when it comes to that dead role, I have absolutely no one that off the top of my head, oh yeah, that's who I would call, right? And not to fill my dad's role, but because they've had that experience in life. Now, if I needed a woman's perspective, undoubtedly, I would probably reach out to any number of these women and be like, can you help give me some direction? I don't expect you to give me the answer you would, but can you at least point me in a direction where I can find the path, right?
Because my dad's health is not good at all. Guys, I don't really know what keeps him fully going.
He was raised between his mother and his grandparents. None of them taught him how to quit.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then it's not meant rudely. I mean, it's not like he's functioning and everything, but he's starting to feel his age. I mean,
well, let's see. He's turning 80 this year, dude. We've got to go to Colorado next month. He's going to be 80, mister. I don't know, but maybe we need to have a freaking fundraiser of sorts. Maybe we could have a big yard sale and pull everything out in the yard and be like, make an offer. I don't know. He's going to be 80 next month. Has he ever mentioned anything about turning 80?
No.
Dude, I don't know how this year snuck up on me like that. Yeah, he was born in 45, so.
So he was 33 when he was born.
I figure 33 or 38. I told you I can't math. I guess unless we're on rounded numbers. But I will tell you, as far as when it comes to my mother's stuff and releasing my own stuff, the guilt that creeps in with just letting go, is having strong women that I can rely on just to have a conversation with and not feel like I'm burdening them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, does it get worse, Black Widow? Because in that short stay, it was mentioned about it getting worse. I mean, I definitely, I can pull for moments after both my parents, each and then all together, where it's definitely been harder. I just attributed it to the fact that I don't know. I don't know that it's harder. We just learn how to carry it. And sometimes it just sneaks right back in. But maybe it really does get harder. I woke up this morning and I looked at my phone and I had Because I looked at the phone for the time because I don't have a clock in my room.
Yes, it does. I'm noticing that. Holy cow.
I wondered. I figured it was just me, but I mean, we're almost halfway through. We're a third of the way through the month, and it feels like we just started this month. Thank you, Timmy, and y'all. Thanks for being here. I mean, Crockett, I don't know that anyone can fully be as prepared. I think some of it, some, uh, have a better way of coping or at least speaking. And I don't mean that rudely because I'm never going to mock the way anyone grieves. Um, I mean, several people I grew up with had lost their parents way before I lost mine. Some of them before we even got out of high school. Um, that's why I give the compliments I do when I do, because I never know from one day to the next if it's going to be a last. When I was becoming Army Strong for the first time, I learned to stop saying goodbye because I laced in the military since and other roles in life, professions. Saying goodbye could be the last words you ever say to that person, quite literally. And so I just learned while we were becoming Army Strong, you don't say those words goodbye, and I don't. Um, that's why I do see you laters. Now, each to their own. I get, I never got not saying goodbye until I became Army Strong. But what I can tell you is during COVID, it was a stressful time for us as it was for much of the world, I think. My mom was autoimmune compromised, living in an apartment, uh, nursing a leg injury, and I was worried I was going to bring COVID to her house. So we typically didn't uh, stay long. And my mother's and I's relationship was strained after my dad passed away, which was weird. Um, and the last night I was with her,
It doesn't sound sad, Black Widow, because that's kind of how I kind of feel. I think, if it was something you weren't expecting, if it was just something out of the blue and there was no real reason for it, that would be different. But in the situation like this, where I've watched my dad grow old, I've watched him slow way down. The guy used to be able to walk miles and not even phase him, and now he can't even hardly walk his dog without almost falling in the yard. Um, you know, yeah, it's almost like a relief, when he goes, because it's like, okay, at least I know he's okay now, type of deal. So,
I see it, Timmy. So Timmy's got a question. Do y'all think Bob Joyce to be Elvis Presley living in Arkansas? So I know who you're talking about.
hey, you know what?
So
Wouldn't be the first time.
I would tell you I've seen crazier things happen in my lifetime.
Come
I've
on, Keith
seen
Richards came back from the dead and created another album or two.
I've seen things that have come to pass in my lifetime that I didn't think was possible, both good and bad. So you're not going to get much more as far as descriptions on that. Um, I, I mean, I think part of me, even though Elvis Presley died the same year my grandfather did, which is before me, um, before I was born, a little bit of hope. Good night, Kraken, and be gentle when you do my own voice. But I will. But do me a favor when you get your invoice, read the seller's notes. Will you? In Black Widow, I read what you put. Let me go back. I can only see part of it. So, she put, this may sound bad, but when my father died, so this Black Widow speaking, you know, in chat, I was relieved he got away from this life. He was sick for a long time, and I watched him. And I watched, and he told me what was happening to him. He was ready. So Black Widow, I can relate in the aspect that I know what you mean. I've experienced that not with my parents, obviously, but with a grandparent and with other loved ones. Um, and the relief, it can sound bad because some people could be like, oh, they're in denial, they're in shock, they're no. To see someone you love and adore and so much into all that. Um, I have some lucid moments, meaning I was in a full PTSD episode the entirety of my dad's uh, passing away. I'd never been into a full one until then. Um, but I have moments where I don't like to relive. But I remember my dad on his deathbed, and he never lost hope that God was going to save him. And I don't mean on this side of heaven, but
I remember the night when he was ready.
I would never want him back in that position. So the thing with my dad is I was still an active addict. Remember trigger things tonight. I was actively uh, addicted.
Hey, Don.
When he was passing, and my illogical thinking was because he lived 60 miles from us, they needed a lot of help.
Wow, I like it, Black Widow. Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
So,
and don't take it wrong. I fully understand. She put, many may not understand, but he had help leaving. I was blessed to witness it. I did a report in high school on the whole deal of having help at that point, and I made a conclusion at that point that if it's done right, I'm all for it. If the person literally is at the end and their body just won't give up, I'm for it. All
right.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I just need a moment. You gotta remember I'm an empath, and that's not just right. I'm glad he was given that opportunity, Black Widow.
Help us from the other side. Yeah.
One of my last lucid moments with my dad, and you have to understand, I don't know how much of it was me being in a PTSD episode yet, like Hollywood when combat vets, they're physically here, but then they're somewhere else. So, yeah. Remember when the Smurfs arrived at Dad's house? I thought it was because he was on liquid morphine at that point, So I thought it was after a dose of it. No, he never took too much. In fact, He wouldn't even take pain management for the cancer that was taking his life because I was an active addict and he didn't want to become one. That's what I had to contend with during the summer my dad was dying. He literally, I mean, his spine was most of the way gone, and he was refusing to take a pain pill. And I looked at him and said, Dad, please. Seeing him in that pain and not being able to take it away or to carry that pain myself, it was a bit much. And he goes, Steph, I don't want to be an addict. And I almost wanted to look at him, but I felt like if I said it, it would make it happen. The problem is that's what was the issue involving my dad around his death was a couple months before that. Him and I hadn't talked for almost 2 years um, due to a falling out that involved his girlfriend at the time. Um, sorry. I'm okay. It puts me right back there and I just step back so I don't put myself in a place.
You could write a book, Black Widow.
Black Widow, you you don't know who you'd be helping, girl. Um, there's a few people that want to hear my testimony. Da, 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 da. For one, I don't know that anyone could really take it all in, let alone a lot of it's just mind blowing. But anyway, so my dad for probably about 3 or 4 days kept saying there were Smurfs. And it was, of course, very late in the evening time, and he was, matter of fact, but he wasn't being sarcastic. At
No.
first I thought he was kidding, and then I realized he was.
And then he's taking his pillow and swatting the air, trying to knock Smurfs off the bed. It was like, what are you doing? I'm trying to get these little off this bed right now. We had some good laughs there at the end too, though, because some of the stuff he would do, you could tell was just, it was his goofy personality coming out uncontrolled.
Right.
Is what a lot of it really was. And it was cool to actually get to see the real goofy side that he always kind of held back. Because he had no real thought control at that point. I mean, the cancer was fully taking over a brain. And
well, you remember when I told you, hey, we got to get the lighter away, and you're like, Steph, he's going to be dying. And I'm like, I know he's going to be dying.
But I don't want to burn.
And I said, but here's the thing: if any of us doze off, because someone stayed up all night with him, all night, every night, and we would take turns. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And if we doze off and he lights a cigarette, the trash can was right there. And yes, we could have moved the trash can, but in turn there was carpet, so it wouldn't have mattered. I didn't want a fire to start, and so. No, you wouldn't take the lighter because you couldn't do that to him because you were his favorite son-in-law.
Yeah, no, I made her deal with that one.
And so I did. And the first time he's like, I can't find my lighter and da-da-da-da. And it's like, oh, Dad, here it is. It must have fell. And, of course, he had some words. And when he dozed back off, I took it again. And so... like the second night, and he was very lucid that night. Usually he didn't have a whole lot of lucidness at that point, but he looks at me and he goes, you mofos think that I'm going to set the house on fire. And I looked at him and I said, no, Dad, you're on oxygen. The canister's right there. The trash can's right there, which is in range of your hand. If you doze off and no one's awake when it happens, it's going to hit the trash can. It's going to go up your bed, and you are going to be on fire before anyone wakes up. And I said, I don't want to lose you that way. And from that moment on, he understood why his lighter just wasn't in hand's reach. But he was never denied a cigarette, was he?
Nope. Nope.
I only say that
He actually quit smoking the day he died.
we're not location. But where was I when my dad drew his last breath?
You were sitting in the hospital.
I was sitting in the hospital and under a chemical restraint. A chemical restraint that can never be given to me again in my lifetime as long as I'm in the U.S.
Yep.
Because they misused it. It's actually listed under everything as an allergy. It's not an allergy. It was overused and in such a way that
The ER doctor
scenes in the 50s.
Yeah, the ER doctor
look nice.
The ER doctor that saw her after she was given that, and
she asked you what you had given me because she knew we were addicts.
And I was like, nothing at all. I said, she has been this way since I picked her up this morning, and she goes,
it had been almost 18 hours at that point.
She looked in the chart, and she started looking, and she goes, oh, no, that's not how we do things. And she's like, we got this handled. And they did.
You know, I couldn't figure out what y'all was discussing, but I seen her push that syringe in. It wasn't until clearly well after that I understood what happened that night. That was me having an allergic reaction. It's in medical records that a physician was attending during that allergic reaction, so it can't ever be given to me again. No human being should be treated that way. And she was my biggest medical advocate until we moved back to Kansas. Well, that was before we moved the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But she was my biggest medical advocate in the state of Colorado because of them using a chemical restraint to an extreme.
Yeah, that was a bad deal.
And I can't express other than go look at a 50s or 60s movie, and I can just tell you it's not a good feeling if you're even remotely conscious to know that someone's done that to you. Sure. Timmy's got a question for chat. Do y'all think that the Groves needs to build them a dirt track race car? 1 for yes, 2 for no. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. Remember, I did break my neck 22 years ago today. I can
still race. I just have to wear a heavy brace in the back.
Remember, your allergy is to narcotic pain meds, which means no pharmacy in the U.S. will fill a prescription for you. That might hurt for a lot of days. But, yeah. I mean, buddy, if you want to do it,
I'd be all for running around the track.
I would. Hey,
I really want to get into drag racing. That's what I want to do.
But he's just saying a racetrack. So you wouldn't have.
No, it's a dirt track.
A dirt track. As long as you don't hit anything, you ain't got no aches.
But what happens when the adrenaline rush happens and I just start running people?
Well, then you're out the expense of the car. And you just did more damage to a body that will not regenerate itself.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah. Okay, I'm more looking for drag racing. No, I love watching dirt track. I enjoyed, going out and playing on the dirt track. But really, drag racing is kind of the way to go when your body's torn up.
For sure.
Because, usually if you wreck a drag car, you're going to the hospital either way. And you're going to be there a while.
So, Mister, I got one question for you. I've never asked you.
Hmm.
Well, I'll start with the question I did ask you because that was just a couple hours before that doctor witnessed that reaction, right? You remember when we got back to Southeast Colorado? He stopped at a convenience store in our hometown back there, and he stopped at one that the medication had wore off enough that I could identify where I was at, and couldn't tell you what day it was. Obviously, it was the night after my dad passed away, so that would have been the 26th of September, but I couldn't have told you then what day it was or even who the president was. Um, Mister went in and you got me a Sprite that night.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what I asked you when you come out?
Yeah, asked, can we go see Dad?
I asked him, I had an experience the night my dad died. Yeah, chemically restrained and all. And so I hadn't thought about my dad the whole next day until we were in that parking lot. And I looked for some markers that would definitely tell me I was in the right neighborhood. And we were. And so I asked him, what I was really asking him is if my dad died the night before, but I was scared to ask because it would have made it real and I wasn't ready for it to be real. So I asked him, I said, um, can we go see Dad?
See you later, Black Widow.
See you
Go
later,
enjoy
Black Widow.
finding some chaos.
I'm going to go wander the YouTube streets a bit. I'm sure there is as much chaos to see.
Much chaos to see.
I didn't do it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
I'm her alibi. I was with her all night.
Yeah, she was here all night. She was. I got this nifty little device and I could track her. So, yeah, she's here all night with us, y'all. Be safe, girl. And we'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Her channel, y'all. But, yeah, so did you realize I was trying to ask you if my dad had died?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to get you back to the hospital.
So, yeah, I was just
to the bathroom.
if you need it, you got my cell. Just let me know. I gotta stand up for a minute, y'all. Get up there. No, he's wanting to take over your spot, dude.
Of course he is.
He's been weird since Allie was sick. He hasn't fully adjusted back. With that said, he's at least 14 years old, but we think he's older than that. So, yeah, that's why I was asking Mister that night was I just looked at him because his face don't lie either. And I just asked him, I said, can we go see Dad? Because honestly, I can't tell you how many days it had been prior to his death before that I can remember seeing him. I just know it was likely a week, possibly two before he died. So, y'all, Timmy the Racing Channel, Mr. will drop his channel again, his channel link. If you're not connected with Timmy the Racing Channel, please do. Y'all, you see him in my chat. Hey, if everyone is in the chat is new, please sub to the Gross Bargain channel. And please press the like button for the Gross Bargain, okay? Thank you, everyone, for coming to the Gross Bargain live stream. And that's just who Timmy is. I'll tell you, I see him in other people's chats, and not all the chats we're all familiar with. he really does lift those around him up. So this is absolutely nothing new for me uh, with Timmy. He's got a great channel, y'all. I enjoy watching his racing shorts. That's his short videos. Just in case you're not, in case you're already laying in bed. Someone might be offended. That's Porch. Just say, what about it? Oh. We don't eat on that channel.
You're not selling nothing.
So do you remember what you told me when I asked you if we could go see Dad?
Told you not tonight.
You told me not tonight, and you gave me a look of don't ask anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, dream chat. But
Petey boy, you got mess up. Come on.
that's what his problem is. He's used to being up in the chair with you.
Mm-hmm. All that, and he's got his nose up to bacon.
Not healthy for you dogs.
You even
You
got
guys-
her.
You guys get broccoli.
Did y'all know that dogs can have broccoli? That's Ellie's new favorite snack, literally.
Broccoli,
Broccoli.
green beans.
Yeah, the vet told us green beans, not canned. Any vegetables
Nothing
canned
canned is full of sodium.
because it's full of sodium, and dogs, well, I think cats too.
Their bodies can't regulate sodium.
Yeah, their bodies aren't able to regulate the sodium. So, and this guy, he comes with his own set of history, and so it makes it a challenge. He definitely wouldn't have been adoptable no matter which humane society on the continental U.S. Because of his history. Not what he does, but what has been done to him. He was never supposed to be able to have a leash. He doesn't only walk with a leash, he'll walk with a lead, so retractable. He's still shy if you move things without him anticipating it. So much when you grab the leash, for one, we put it back in the same place. That way, when we go to grab it, he knows exactly what we're going for, and it doesn't traumatize him any. With that said, he doesn't see a regular vet because none of them seem to be experienced with, and I would think they would be experienced with this type of trauma. But
The hospital said they could deal with it.
oh, that's right. They said they'd be able to tranquilize him.
Yep. So they would just basically come out with a little dog treat, let him eat it, let him sit there and chill in the vehicle for 10, 15 minutes.
But that
and then they just
visit,
take him in.
but that visit, not the med, but the visit just for them to look at him is $170.
Mhm.
So not that he isn't worth all that, and just
When we got him, we had discussed that him and another dog that came with him were my aunt's last. They were her babies.
yeah,
These two were
they
her
were
babies.
her babies, and they stayed with her after she passed
Yep,
away.
they stayed up on the bed with her after she passed, and her last will was with these two dogs was for them to be put down.
Not in a mean way,
Yeah, not
but
in a
it
mean
was
way. She wanted them euthanized, and
and
basically
why?
because
Because of their age and because of the history they came with. She didn't think anyone would take the time, let alone work with them and get them where they would be able to um, have quality of life. And she did not want her fur babies to suffer.
so my cousins and my mom just wouldn't let it happen. It just basically, we'll figure it out. Well, Steph had went over to visit, and
Well, I made that visit because my best friend had been murdered.
yeah, and ended up coming home with these two dogs. And I'm like, man, we don't need more than one dog. That's it.
So what I tell you?
We'll find him a good home.
I said, well, I spread them home to find him a home. And, of course, I didn't tell him that they found their home with us. But I think you probably knew in that moment, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They grew on me. I mean, this guy, he was so skittish.
Did Crafty Witch just go live?
That's cool.
You could jump back and forth, but hey, definitely go over and hang on. Tell her I said hi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell her we said hi.
Tell Andy we said hi. Yeah. Yeah, the only thing we haven't been able to do, and it's actually the biggest thing, is being able to get his nails trimmed. That's been a huge struggle because they're long enough.
I need to sit down and have time, and I'm going to take like a big towel, and I'm going to cut.
Yeah, so we can put him in a soft harness,
yeah,
right?
basically build a soft harness to lift him up.
Because he won't even let me, even after 3 years, and he trusts me.
He's got a spot on his ear, and he just keeps opening it up because he scratches at it, and we can't clip his nails because he won't like to touch his feet.
He won't let us.
He was severely abused, so not by my aunt or her husband, but by her brother, had severely abused him.
He was an alcoholic.
Yeah, he was a full-blown alcoholic, and he was just extremely mean. When he would drink, he was mean.
Yeah, our biggest thing with him is 4th of July, and he actually did really well this year.
He did.
Last year was rough for him, but that might also have been because we weren't here for the 4th of July before last year, so he wasn't sure what to expect.
I do it, Timmy. I'll take and jump over on someone's and, just like leave for a little bit and then be like, okay, let's go back on over here and go back over.
Yeah, if you're on the cell phone, it makes it a lot more interesting. But yeah, go over and hang out. It's fine, Timmy. We'll find ourselves there here in a minute. At least I will. Matter of fact, you know what? That's what I can do because I can. We're not doing a cell, so. And my, I think my volume's down. I'll make sure though. It's one thing I don't like when I'm on selling. I mean, no, if I'm on my channel, that's one thing. If I don't have anyone on with me, but otherwise, I mean, when we're not selling, if we're online, oh my goodness, were you up last night? Did you see her 3D skull?
Yes.
She made brains for it because she crochets, right?
Yeah.
So she made a 3D skull and made brains for it. I told her
it's a pincushion.
It's a pincushion.
It's cool, and I know a person that would love that gift.
Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. Live chat. Shoot. Andy with an I. Right. Wait, if I come in that way, she's gonna think someone stole my name. Of course, I don't have the volume on because I don't need YouTube get me for any copyright. Darn it, and I just got sent off. I scrolled up, it threw me on someone else's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to get Andy to show.
Till my body's used to like winding down at 11 o'clock and 11:30
Mhm.
going to bed because I'm like,
So we'll have to wait a minute. Here's, oh, there it is. So that's the school. That's the brains pincushion, whatever. Now I think that's the large one. She's gonna
Yeah,
3D print. This one took her, I think she said 22 hours.
22 hours
to
for it
print. Oh, there it is. Now this one, she said, if she makes any more, is $30. The smaller one she makes, I think she said she's gonna start at 15. But you can see without she's doing. Hey, Donna Lou's over there. So yeah. Crafty Witch 232. She's a great supporter, not just business wise, channel wise. She's definitely inspired me to start getting crafty again. Remember, I used to be that way.
Mhm.
You remember?
And then life got busy and starts moving at light speed.
And I don't have a niche in crafting. I mean, I can crochet. I've never learned how to knit. I can embroider. I can sew with my hands, not a machine. That is my kryptonite. What else? A lot of DIY stuff. I do paint. I can write, though I don't typically write openly. It's usually a private thing. Even though Nancy, we'll use her name, she's not here on YouTube, always said, Steph, let me know when you finish your book. Not because I've started a book, but she sees the value. Obviously, she was in a position to know the history. She's like, I'm the first person, and I want a signed copy. So I know how to write. I thought I knew how to communicate effectively, at least in the writing form. But I'm really realizing either my wording is off, or I just offend certain people.
I think just offend certain people.
And that's possible. But that's possible.
We're going to leave that comment. Move on.
And then what else? Hey, with Suno, I know how to
Write music.
write music. Now the lyrics are my own. It's the AI of figuring out how to get the voice right. So, but the lyrics are my own words. How are you gonna go back and forth? Oh, that was your layer. Timmy going, how are you gonna go back and forth? On a cell phone, well, I've got two. I've got my personal phone and my business phone. So typically I'm on one. And that's how, if you see me active in two chats, that's how I'm doing it. If you see me active in a third chat, I'm on the laptop too. It's happened. It's happened because, hey, I think sometimes it's really hard. Great channels sometimes struggle with getting a few people in. depending on the day, not because there's anything wrong with their channel, but either they're starting at a new time they've never started before or something. So I try to spread as much wealth as I can. Um, but Crafty Witch 232 in her own right, that's just who she is. Typically, no matter what she's doing, no matter, whether it's 3D printing, you'll hear it if she's got it going. You'll hear it printing. She's crocheting, and I think in one setting she's done like 11 or 12. That's what she said. That's about like 8 hours of lives, and she could pump out that many. Um, she's not always active in her chat. And not because she don't want to be, but I mean, she's got her own life. She's a networking channel and a crafting channel for a reason. But we catch her live. She catches us live. Just because she goes on late or is staying on late, that's usually how I catch her. If it's an evening thing, she's a great supporter. Jody Genealogy. That is her second channel. Marketplace Boutique is her main. So it's Jody. She's another great supporter for the same reasons. Hey, Cookin. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Leave Crafty. It's a Crafty connection, I think. If not, Tuber. Jody. Andy with a Y. Somewhere in the mix. That's how we're connected. Thanks for coming in. But yeah. So it is the 9th of July, 5 days post 4th of July here in the States. What is it? It's almost the middle of summer already, right? Well, when's summer officially end? What is it, the third week of September? And it starts in June, right? So we're not quite the middle of summer yet. I mean, the house is starting to feel like summer.
One of that's leaving that front door open past like.
Dude, I can't feel like I live in a cave though.
I understand.
I need my natural light. And what's up?
Nothing, I was dropping the link.
Okay. But yeah.
Someone new. I always drop their link.
And let's see. I should be able. You know what? Here's a good example. I just hit the thumbs up for Crafty Witch. Quite literally. And typically if someone. Oh, Dawn. Have you been over to Dawn's channel? I know you was over there tonight. No. I mean, have you went to her channel and clicked the live and see she's got scheduled? Yeah. If you haven't, she should still have 2 or 3 up for sure. Yeah, Dawn just went in and started scheduling some lives. What does that mean, y'all? Well, that means y'all can go in ahead of time and you can hit the thumbs up. Anyone that has scheduled lives or premieres that are scheduled that's in their live tab or in your feed, she's actually got her links done. Heck yeah, girl. I was so excited. I know you had been talking about doing all of that a few weeks back, and I noticed it the other night, and I'm like, and then the next morning there was like more, and I'm like, you all right?
Yeah, just moving my way.
I've got to go through and check because this week was the first week where I didn't have all my stuff a month ahead or 2 months ahead, and I try to keep it at least a month ahead um, 3 weeks to a month out. But I try sometimes to get it to 2 months out just so the algorithm don't mess up. Um, so I'll have to go on and check and see. I do know we got, was it one or two Humpty auctions that are in our live schedule set up. And then we have a lot of our networking before we go on with other channels. I don't think I have anything else scheduled out yet. So that'd be something I work on. So, let's see. Where are you going to be at tomorrow, mister? Say around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time?
Oh, I'm gonna be over on Black Widows hanging out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Well, an auction with her and Selena. Bud, come on. And then you, I think, is gonna be in there also.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's going to be us, Black Widow, on Black Widow's channel with Selena.
Yep. All right.
And then, so I got another question, mister.
You're the one.
But I have to double check this really quick. So tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, tomorrow's Thursday. Where will you be at?
Oh, we're gonna be over watching.
5 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is our time, right? That's the zone we're in. We're gonna be over at Dawn's channel for her Thursday night hustle with Gina. Gina is, oh my goodness, I love Gina's energy for real. Can I just speak about her for a second, y'all? Don't tell her I said that slow, right? No, honestly, I love Gina. Matter of fact, I think the first time I ever seen her, I think she was on Dawn's channel, so it might just tell you how long it's been. I love her energy. I love her smiles. I love her genuineness. It is going to be nice seeing her. It's been a minute, and it's been long enough that I miss her. That was the part I didn't want y'all to tell her. No, in all seriousness, she's a great channel, in my opinion. I don't think I've ever seen a showing of hers, whether she's collabing with anyone or she's on her channel. It almost comes natural to her, but I mean, she's definitely in her element. And does she bring the glass? We're talking the glass that we only use, at least for me, that I'm used to seeing on listings online. No, she's got the stuff in her hand. She's telling you what it is. I don't know enough about glass. I just know enough to know when I need to, reach out to people that they're an expert in it. I don't think Gina claims to be an expert, but she definitely puts the time in to know what she's selling. And that's what I enjoy about her. I've always enjoyed when she's showing, even if I can't purchase anything. It matters now. She treats everybody the same, whether they're there as a customer or there as a supporter. She's just fun. She's fun. I don't know that the word exquisite, maybe I'm saying that wrong, but I enjoy her. So I'm glad she's going to be over there on Dawn's channel tomorrow. That's at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. So that would be 4 p.m. Mountain Time, And if you're in Kelly, that'll be 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. Past that, let's see. We're on with Black Widow at 1. I have not shared that link out. I don't think on my community channel, y'all. But it's certainly, that'll be something I need to do in the morning when I get up. So it'll be on my task list. Because it's just another great way to support channels without spending anything except a little hand energy and the time it takes to do it. So I definitely enjoy supporting in that way when I can. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Black Widow's bringing. I would say a variety of stuff. Selena, she always brings a variety of stuff and some really amazing things. She has showed a few things over the last few weeks. I'm looking at it and I'm going, so it's Tennessee I need to go source next. You're back, Timmy. Welcome back. Yeah, I went over there really quick, said hi. Of course, I didn't stick in chat long enough to tell everyone hi. That was definitely, I'd say, rude of me, but that's probably my grandmother part of me that's, my grandmother raised us. She didn't raise us in that sense. I mean, with the values and stuff. She instilled in us when you walk in the door, you announce yourself, and all the things that come with that upbringing. And so we just, when I go into anyone's chat or anything, it's like walking in the room. So I've got this Healing Plus ointment. It's 2 ounces. I purchased this before we moved here in the Flint Hills. I purchased it up here in the Flint Hills. And it's hand balm. It helps with our arthritis and all that good stuff. We've lived here the 19th of this month. Will be 2 years. So that's what I use, and it don't take a whole lot. I only use it for my hands. One day, my mother had RA, the debilitating part of RA, and undoubtedly I had the traits of it. And when I'm able to have the blood work side of it done again, we'll find out how much is really impacting me, other than obviously. Are you alright? Okay. So, but let's see, we got married 20 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Next month will be 21 years. How crazy is that? S was 6. Yeah, he was 6 months old when we got together. So, do I need to call your dad? Be like, hey, I might have overlooked the fact that you're 80 in less than a month. What do you want to do? Just make sure it's not like an airline you want, because I can't make that happen yet. Or are you going to call your dad? You'll call your dad.
Yeah, I'll call it.
I mean, I guess you ought to see if he's got any plans for his 80th. How do you prepare for your 80th birthday? Aunt Jenny took care of her own 80th birthday celebration. You remember that?
Uh-huh.
And I told her months before, I was like, Aunt Jenny, just let me know what you want and we'll get it to her. Get it. And she goes, nope, I want it done a certain way. And I ain't got any kid that's responsible enough to do it. She goes, I've been planning this for years. She had been. So making sure to put that can back on tight. I don't know how long the bomb lasts, but I can tell you it's made it 2 years and it's still as good as the day I purchased it. It's the 2-ounce tin and I've used less than half. So, well, y'all, it is midnight here. I know a lot of y'all are on the East Coast or Eastern time zone. Some of y'all aren't. I think some of y'all are over there in Cali, but either way, I've got another day and I've got to start working on not just Krakens, but a lot of other folks' invoices. That way, when it comes to the final stuff, I'm not rushed and I don't sit there and make a bunch of mistakes because that's try to have a smooth sales week, invoice, and ship in. But yeah, you think you're ready for bed. I'm feeling ready for bed too, Dawn. We got a long day tomorrow. We'll be on at 1. Dawn will be on at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Black Widow's channel. Then we will be in the chat at Dawn's channel at 5 p.m. Now, if I'm not there right at 5, y'all don't look it against me. But I will certainly be in her life. I've missed Gina. Missing that girl. So I definitely want to be there. And then at some point tomorrow, obviously before the evening, Mr. and I will have a pop-up. It'll be sometime after Dawn's channel is done. Because I want to be in the chat and I want to be supporting them too. And it's hard to do it if our times not only overlap, but completely encompass each other. And I don't want to do that. Not because, I haven't ever done that before. There's times where I'm on Salin while my friends are on another channel, Salin, and sometimes it happens that way, but a great majority of the time we all like to be in each other's chat. If it's for nothing else, just hit the thumbs up and just keep the channel positive and supported that way. So, y'all, I think we'll probably do a poll or two as far as for our next event. That way we can have better participation and maybe a better direction. It's been a rough couple weeks, and then so get something that way maybe we can move through things a little easier versus I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, thank y'all for being here. Timmy, I don't know that we got to 900 thumbs up during this live, but no, I appreciate you just as much as if we got to 901. Seriously. Y'all head over to Timmy, the racing channel, if you're not connected with him, and certainly connect. Yes, he is recently, meaning the last 60 days, new to me. But I'll tell you, thus far, it's been a great connection. So with that, we'll catch y'all tomorrow. And if not, then stay safe. And we'll catch you in another chat.
See everyone later.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.